Chef Marc Murphy.
Hello, how are you?
Man, let me tell you, I'm incredibly excited is how I am. My name is Deuce. Thanks for joining me this morning, taking time out of your day.
Not a problem. Having fun here.
I have to say, I've watched every episode of Chopped probably twice, so I basically feel like I already know you. Like, I know your idiosyncrasies about what you like and don't like in food, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go talk to Marc now. It's cool.
Oh, my God, that's very funny. Well, thank you very much, first of all, for watching. It's exciting.
No, it's
a fun show. We have such a great time making it, too.
And that's what comes through, too, and there's a lot of, it's pretty interesting, and I'm not obviously going to spend too much time talking about it because you have an excellent cookbook that I've been going through the past week or so that I got to get to. But, yeah, it's really comes through that everyone on that show seems to actually like and respect each other.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like a mini fraternity house. We all know each other really well. We've been doing this show quite a bit. We've been sitting next to each other for quite a long time. And we also knew each other before we started the show, been in our respective restaurants because we're all chefs here in New York at some point or another. Our lives did cross paths before this. So it's definitely a lot of fun.
So
it's fun that, it's also fun to see the contestants that come on and see the enthusiasm for our industry and for the food and the ingredients that pop up.
Have you noticed more people kind of coming into your restaurants or just New York restaurants in general kind of since the mainstreaming of shows like Chopped?
I think it's been a great thing. I mean, the Food Network's been around over 20 years, and I think just the level of food and the level of interest of food, the Food Network has really helped elevate that. And I think it's not just my restaurants or other restaurants. I think it's just in general people are just much more into it, and I think it's a great thing.
Well, the word foodie didn't exist till about 5 years ago, and now everyone's a foodie, you know?
Yes, you're right. Yes, that is a problem sometimes as well, but that's a different issue.
Yeah, I mean, people, you don't need foodies on Yelp. It's all great until they get a Yelp account and think they know everything. All right.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll say it for you.
Thing.
It's just something that you have to deal with. Now, the book, you're taking all that knowledge from all of your years of cooking experience into a book called Season with Authority, which, if we're going to go back to the Chopped thing, should be no surprise to anyone who has watched an episode of Chopped wherein someone neglects to salt pasta water or salt something immediately after coming out of the fryer, because that is a pet peeve of yours, I know.
It's the basics of cooking. You have to season your food. I mean, make pasta without salt in your pasta water. You might as well throw it out. You might as well start over, because if you don't get the salt inside the pasta while you're cooking it in the boiling water, it's just never going to taste right. I mean, it's just rule number one. You got to season your food. The same thing with proteins. Before you grill them, before you put them in a pan, you've got to put the salt on before. It's got to get embedded into the protein. It's got to help the flavors come out. You can't do it afterwards. It's just not going to be the same result.
What I love about your cookbook is you mentioned that kind of fundamental aspect of things. And before you get to the recipes in the cookbook, you tell not only kind of a 101 on proper seasoning and what certain ingredients do and what they mean and why they're so important, different techniques that not everyone might know, but you also tell your story. You have a really, really interesting backstory, having spent so much of your life. You grew up in Europe and traveling all over the place. How much would you say that your, let's just say the difference between the European approach to cooking, how much it differs from maybe the American approach?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. I was very lucky as a child. I mean, I was born in Milan. I was raised in Europe. My father was an American diplomat, so we moved every 2 years. I did grow up eating very good food as a kid. My grandparents are French. I'm half French. We'd go to the south of France for vacation and obviously eat and talk about eating all the time. So I was very, very lucky. But and I think that we can all train our palates to have that same sort of elevated flavors, but you just have to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep cooking. That's why this book, I wanted to make it. It's really good recipes, but they're really simple to make. And there's no crazy, wacky ingredients you got to go, search high and low for. They're actually normal ingredients. And you too can probably make these recipes because I wanted to make it accessible.
Yeah, and I noticed that too. And what I like is there's a balance because I'll flip through the pages and you'll see okay, you've got some crostinis, some flatbreads, things like that look really good, but they're very simple and anybody can kind of bring out great flavors in them. But then the next page, you've got something really elegant. Like I never in a billion years thought that I could or would be able to make steak tartare at home. But your recipe seems so straightforward. Now I'm not intimidated, and I think I'm getting a little cocky. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I can handle it. Let's do this.
Do it. You got to keep practicing. I mean, don't be afraid. Look, look, I always tell people, don't be afraid of cooking. It's actually everybody should have this skill. I mean, you got to be able to cook for yourself. It's a survival skill, really.
Absolutely. Is it something that people can learn to love? You hear so many people that say how much they hate cooking or they're afraid of cooking and they're terrible at cooking. Is it really just a matter of practice? Can everybody kind of get into it if they try?
I think if you put somebody in the woods with no phone and no delivery service, don't worry, they're going to get excited about cooking when they're really hungry. I mean,
for sure, yeah.
I mean, look, obviously some people are more inspired by food than others, but I mean, it's the one thing we all have in common. We all have to eat every day.
Right. Have you noticed anything, like maybe there's one secret you can share with people who aren't obviously professional chefs that could make their lives easier? Maybe something they do, it's a common problem with knife technique or the best way to chop an onion or something like that. What would be the number one thing that you think amateur chefs could make their lives very easy by changing?
Well, I think it might not be a thing about changing, but I think the most important thing for people that are intimidated about cooking, and I think it comes to the knife skills. The knife skills are something that I think a lot of the reasons I think people don't really cook is because it takes them a half hour to chop an onion.
Right.
So what I think people should do, if they want to cook and they want to get into this and they're intimidated by it, they got to find a cooking school near them and go take a couple knife skill classes, because I think once you get over the fear of the knife skills, then you're going to be more inspired to start cooking, because you're like, yeah, you know what? It's not that hard to dice up bread and make croutons if you use the knife the correct way, or if you use the correct knife. I guess that would be my tip, is learn how to use knives and learn how to use the right knife for the right job. And then it's safe, and you get confidence, and it doesn't take you as long, because, you know what, I can chop up 10 onions into a small dice in probably, 4 or 5 minutes, where somebody else, they see a recipe, dice 10 onions, they're like, oh, forget it, I'll be up all day.
Yeah, right. I got to take off from work so I can chop up some tomatoes on this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So any television plans in the future? I know you've obviously got a great relationship with the Food Network. You've done Chopped, as we said. I think you did Iron Chef America. Is that correct?
Yeah, you know what? I seem to be I'm a regular judge on Chopped, which I absolutely love, and I do different things here and there. I've been on Bobby Flay's show to go help judge there. I've been on Ann Burrell's show. I've been on there's a new show that Ted's been hosting. I do little things here and there, but I also have I have 4 restaurants and a catering company, which here in Manhattan as well.
Right.
So
right.
I have another job. So I'm pretty busy. As I always tell people, I've got 4 restaurants, a catering company, 1 wife, 2 kids, and I'm on it's a national television show. I'm okay. I like to sit on the couch every once in a while.
I don't blame you at all. Seasoned with Authority is the book. Marc Murphy, the chef. Check out Landmark, any restaurant he's associated with. I know I've been to the one right there in Columbus Circle. The shops at Columbus Circle, there's a location. What's the website or the best way to find out more? Maybe, just if people are curious about the other restaurants.
You can always go on my website. I wonder what that is, actually. Well, it's at Landmark. You just look up Landmark and put my name in it, Marc Murphy. That's M-A-R-C, Marc Murphy, and you'll pop into the website. And I have a personal website and I also have the restaurant for the restaurants. And then of course, I guess Amazon. Go buy the book.
Absolutely. We'll have a link right there at WRRV.com. Thanks so much for your time. Now go get back to all those 18 jobs that you have.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on here.
Thanks a lot for your time, Marc.